I wish I had like a Zephyr. Somebody took the Ocarina from Ocarina of Time and was playing the Game of Thrones theme with it.
No, I did not. That's awesome.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Spoilercast.
Spoilercast.
We're back, yay!
Yay, episode 3?
It was episode 3.
Episode 3!
It feels like it's already like episode 5, just because of all the shit that's going on.
That's all the shit that's happening. What was the name of this episode?
The name of this episode? Let me look it up real quick because I was not prepared.
I think it was King of the Sparrows, wasn't it?
High Sparrow.
High Sparrow, that's what it was.
And no,
High Sparrow.
It was not because he was high.
He was not high.
This is not the 420 Sparrow.
No, not the 420 Sparrow.
Although apparently the name was just like kind of like an insult that was given. Like they're saying, "Oh, you know, all the sparrows are shit, but you're the High Sparrow.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh.
You're the top of the pile of shit." But will you stop it?
There's a freaking like moth or something in your room. I'm sorry.
It's distracting as shit.
Let's try to kill it.
God,
let's gotta kill it.
Anyway.
Yes. So
the High Sparrow is featured. We finally meet him in this episode. Cersei meets him.
Cersei does.
After his
and
people.
She doesn't say "fuck you" to him.
Not directly.
Not directly. No.
She says "fuck you" to the High Septon.
Yeah.
Because he's in Littlefinger's whorehouse. Having 7 whores dressed up as each of the 7 gods, and then he chooses which one he wants to bone.
Yes.
And the sparrows are like, nuh-uh.
You're a sinner, yeah.
Sparrows walking like, nuh-uh.
Oh, no, you didn't.
And so they drag his ass naked through the streets, whipping him whenever he tries to cover up his junk. So he complains about that, and then Cersei goes, "Fuck you," and throws him in the dungeon. And she goes to meet with the High Sparrow, and says basically, "I agree with you that he was basically embarrassing the faith. So what can you do better?"
Right.
So Cersei already trying to make a power play here with this dude. Who's played by Jonathan Pryce, and the whole time we're watching the show, we're like,
where do we know him from?
He was the Elizabeth Swann's daddy in Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's what I did know him from. I looked at the rest of his stuff. I'm like, no, I know him as Elizabeth Swann's dad.
Yeah. Remember that time he was stuck on the ghost ship, and then he was fighting with a skeleton hand and threw it in the drawer?
Yes, I do.
Now
he's the High Sparrow.
The thing is, I have no doubt this guy's been in a ton of really good work, and he's done great acting work before, and been in a lot of acclaimed series or shows, or even probably on plays and stuff. But that's what I remember him from, is wearing a fucking wig and
fighting with the skeleton.
Yeah, fighting with the skeleton hand. So I apologize, Jonathan Pryce, for that. That being the first thing that pops into my head.
So now he's like the new High Scepter, right?
I don't know if he's the new High Septon, but he definitely seems like he's going to be the new religious leader for the show. Because...
Or for the kingdom.
Yeah, well, because Cersei is not stupid.
Right.
I mean, she's evil, but she's not stupid.
Right.
And she sees where the wind is blowing.
Yeah, we're seeing what's happening with King Tommen. And he got
married.
His new bride. That's about what I say.
He's a man now. She made a man out of him.
It was a very quick wedding. They didn't make it lavish.
Yeah, well, that's because nobody died.
Because they almost bankrupted themselves on Joffrey's wedding.
Yeah, so
and he died.
So they had the ceremony, and then Tommen and Marjorie were shagging. Next scene, boom,
boning,
over, done with.
Tommen's like, I want to bone again.
What was his word? I want to do this all day, every day, for the rest of my life. Like, are you sure he's not Robert's son?
Exactly.
Like, are we sure? I mean, yeah, he's got blonde hair, but are we really entirely sure that this is Jaime's kid?
I'm surprised that no one has said anything to him about appointing an actual hand. Yeah. I know Cersei is the acting hand, or whatever, but I'm surprised he hasn't actually, appointed a hand.
It's weird, because in the book he does, but, me saying in the book
it's irrelevant now.
Yeah, although this episode actually was pretty close in a lot of ways, more than a few episodes. One storyline, Sansa's, is way far afield.
Way different.
But the rest of them, Arya's stuff, the stuff in King's Landing, kind of all similar. The wall stuff at the wall.
Right.
With the new Knight Commander of the Night's Watch. The 998th Knight Commander of the Night's Watch. Jon Snow.
He is not taking no shit.
Yeah. They say Jon Snow knows nothing. He sure as hell doesn't know mercy.
That's true.
He decided to, do his job, and rather than sending Alistair Thorne away to for a useless command in another place, he's like, "You're first ranger because you're the most experienced, and I know you have the best instincts to this shit. So I'm basically making you the second most important person here."
Right.
Like, I love that Jon was like, "I'm not going to sit there and send him away."
Stannis told him to send him away, didn't he?
Yeah, Stannis. Stannis, the line, he's like, you should probably send him to command somewhere else. He's like, I thought the saying was keep your enemies closer. Stannis like, whoever said that didn't have many enemies.
Yeah.
But yeah, he decided, he's like, you know what? I'm going to show this guy respect. I'm going to see if maybe he's not actually my enemy, but maybe just somebody who doesn't always agree with me.
Right.
I'm going to show him the proper respect and put him in the best position he's, qualified for. And then we'll see what happens. He was going to send General Slint, though, off to a useless command because he's fucking useless.
I'm pretty sure he sent Slint off to where Stannis told him to send.
No, he sent him off somewhere else. He sent him to a place that's not even being used right now to rebuild it, basically. Eastwatch, they didn't say much of it in the show here, but in the books, that's the base that's right on the coast of the sea, where the wall meets the ocean. Right. So they're there kind of as to protect people that might try to boat around the wall. Right. So he was saying send Thorne there because that's an important place. Right. But it also put him a couple hundred miles out of Jon's hair. Jon was going to send Slint to Grey Watch. Okay. Which was
that's right, yeah.
It was a ruin. It was nothing.
Right,
it was
nothing
he's
there.
like, basically, okay, try to rebuild it.
Right, he's like, there's nothing there. He's like, what
basically,
can you do?
Giving him busy work because he's like, you're useless. Right. You don't fight. You don't lead. You don't do nothing. Right. So I'm gonna send you off here and make you do busy work.
And Slim was like, I'm not fucking doing that. I'm not listening to you.
He told him to shove his order up his ass.
Yes. Well, he said he wasn't doing it. He said, I think you misconstrued that was an order. And he's like, you can shove your order up your ass. That's breaking your vows, buddy.
Yeah, and Jon's like, oh, really? I have something you can shove up your ass. It's called my sword. But he doesn't actually do it. He just cuts his fucking head off.
He just cuts his head fucking off.
After Slint's begging for mercy, he's like, I'm sorry, I'm a coward, I'm afraid, mercy. And then Jon's like, he doesn't say anything, he just fucking Ned Stark's his head. First episode of Game of Thrones, it felt very similar to that.
Right, and I think that was supposed to be the comparison they drew. You know what I mean? A man, if it has to have his honor.
Just even the way it was shot, the way it was framed, it posed like
he looked very.
He posed the same silhouette that Ned Stark did, and with this whole thing where he's deciding to remain Jon Snow, remain the Knight Commander, and not become Jon Stark.
Right.
It's definitely there's something at work there where they're saying the name doesn't matter. It's what's in your heart. Right. So. We talked about Stannis briefly. He's going to be leaving in a fortnight, he said, for Winterfell before the snows trap him. But I think, every episode that goes by now, Stannis is becoming more not like an MVP, but I think he's really an underrated character. He's funny. I
really like Stannis. The only thing I don't like about Stannis is that his alliance with what's her name?
Melisandre?
Yeah, with Melisandre. That's the only thing I don't like about it. He used black fucking magic to kill his brother. Yeah. That's the only thing that's if he hadn't done that, Stannis would have been like, yeah, Stannis is the true king. He's the one that actually deserves this.
But by law, he is the king. He is the true king. He has the most legit claim. And I think, really, he showed up at the wall because, when the Night's Watch sent out the Ravens, everybody's saying, we're under attack. Stannis is the only one that got off his ass and went up there
and did something.
And he's the only guy that actually takes Protector of the Realm seriously as part of the king title. Like Joffrey, Balon, even Robb didn't really. They were all too up their own asses. They were concerned about their own shit. None of them took the Protector of the Realm part of it seriously. But Stannis does. He puts the realm before himself in almost every way. Right. The stuff with the Red Witch or Priestess or whatever is weird. but he's using it for a purpose. Mm. And when I look at that, I'm like thinking, man, I love Daenerys, but Stannis might be the best legit person to rule this kingdom because he's the only one that actually cares about surviving.
And like I said, I really like Stannis, but I don't. But at the same time, Brienne is butting heads with him now.
Yeah, she's got the fucking like laser lock. They're following Sansa still, but she wants to kill Stannis for killing Renly. Mm. We found out this episode her conversation with Pod. And now she's, treating Pod like an actual squire and going to teach him how to fight. Right. And I like the dynamic that's evolving between those two. Like, where
that's not in the book at all, right?
Yeah.
Like, Pod and her traveling.
Well, they do travel together quite a bit, and they do end up becoming kind of, there's a bond or a friendship there. So, but it just goes in a different direction. Like, Brienne's journey goes a different way, but... Yeah, they're still in the books, they have this kind of unique relationship. Mm. But it was nice kind of seeing her tell us a bit about her backstory, about her life, and why she is the way she is, and why she was so devoted to Renly. Right. Because when we met her, she'd already was like just super devoted, and no one really understood why. But now it's like you have this understanding that she really did see Renly as being just this great person, like somebody worthy of dedicating your life to. Right. And... It makes you kind of go, look back like, man, it really sucks that he's dead. Because he really would have been a pretty decent dude, but... Right.
He just was staking claim to something that other people wanted more. You know what I mean?
It was it's the thing, they called the war the Five Kings, and only one of them are left. Right. Like, that's the scary part of that. Stannis is the only one left standing. And he did that whole ritual where he was, like, burning effigies and stuff, and, like... They're all gone. Yeah, they are. He's still around, but he's now thousands of miles away from the capital. Right. Trying to marshal an army. He's going to try to basically convert the North to join him. Right. Say, you know what? I understand how you feel. I fucking hate the Lannisters. I hate the Boltons. Well, I will restore the North. I will restore the North to its true, status if you follow me into war.
Well, the Boltons, they're a little fucking batshit crazy themselves.
Yeah, so. They like that flaying people thing.
Flaying them alive, apparently.
Yeah, gross.
So, that also happened in this episode. It was in this episode.
Yeah. We got to see Ramsay and Theon and Roose again. And it's one of those things, God, Roose Bolton's a cunt, but man, it's the same thing, I really dig the way he thinks. Like, he'd be a good leader if he wasn't constantly trying to flay people or ally himself with, the Lannisters. Right. Although he's smart. He's like, look, my alliance was with Tywin Lannister, so right now we're basically just kind of on our own. Right. So we have to make friends, not enemies. And his son's going around flaying people for not paying taxes. Yeah. It's like, you need to make friends, but you can't just flay everybody that doesn't pay their taxes. We don't have the Lannisters to protect us anymore, and the rest of the North outnumbers us. So we gotta be smart, and so being smart includes a marriage for Ramsay. And who's he marrying, Dan?
He is marrying Sansa Stark.
Motherfucker!
Everyone knows it's Sansa Stark because it's Winterfell. Yep. Everyone knows it's Sansa Stark.
The North remembers.
So,
yeah, the whole thing with Baelish and her rolling around, he was talking about a marriage proposal. She thought it was for him, and so did we. It's for her.
Yeah, it's for her.
And when she's told about it, she's like, "Fuck that! Fuck no! Fuck he'll."
She's like, "I'll never go back to that place."
But Littlefinger kind of convinces her, like, "Look, you can't just keep running away your entire life. You're gonna have to do something." You belong in the North.
You're a Stark.
And these people betrayed your family. What better way to get back at them than getting close as you can? Like, I think Littlefinger's planting that seed, like, this is a really good opportunity for you to get some fucking revenge. Right. I mean, if you're part of the family, what are they going to do? They need you more than you need them.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Although I don't think Littlefinger knows about Ramsay's little games he likes to play. And his little hunting trips he likes to go on.
Well, he said that he's hard to read, or he didn't know much about him.
Yeah, well, he hadn't heard much about him because he's
and that's from Littlefinger saying that. That's that's crazy.
So that's a really good job of keeping yourself kind of mystery.
Right.
But so right now, Sansa's back at Winterfell with Littlefinger, where Ramsay and Roose are, but also where Theon is. And Theon's basically trying to hide himself from Sansa because I think it's probably just pure shame at this point because he knows that what he did.
Well, because I didn't know at first when they first got there, we didn't realize that the North didn't remember. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I thought that she was just going to be marrying, Littlefinger's niece or whatever.
No, they immediately introduced her as Sansa Stark.
Yeah, like
this, the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, like the way it takes her to the room is like, Lady calls her Lady Stark, and she's like shocked and is like, "No, the North remembers.
Welcome home."
Yeah, welcome home.
Well, I mean, but Littlefinger was also announcing her as Sansa Stark when she went.
Right.
So I mean. I think the need for the subterfuge was over as soon as they left the Eyrie.
Right.
Because the whole thing with Littlefinger marrying her aunt and then killing her, they wanted to make sure they know there's a family member right there too.
Right.
I think once they left the Eyrie, because everybody knows Sansa Stark's alive, and that fled the wedding, the purple wedding. So
right.
I don't think anyone was when she shows up at Winterfell with one of the main lords of the Seven Kingdoms now. With saying, okay, I'm now her whatever custodian or what would be the word even like chaperone? I don't know how. Well, I guess uncle through marriage, right? So he's family. So I'm her remaining acting family, and I'm arranging this marriage for my family.
Right.
Technically, they are related now.
Right, they are
through marriage. So. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. And at one point, Sansa is going to figure out Theon is there. She's going to see him. And then that shit's going to get real interesting.
Right, yeah.
Because she still thinks that he killed Bran and Rickon. I'm sure he'll immediately say, no, they're alive. It was just two other kids. I just pretended. And it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Like, with, Theon basically being there and being this, subhuman creature now that's...
Right.
beholden to his master.
He's a eunuch now, isn't he?
Yeah, poor guy.
Poor guy.
Yeah, because we mentioned when we were watching it. Theon and Sansa grew up together. Like Theon was the hostage at Winterfell since he was like 8.
Right. So
he grew up in Winterfell with the Starks. Like they're his family. And as we saw in the first season and part of the second, he considered them to be basically more of a family than his real family. Even as he was trying to impress his father and sister, he began to realize that the Starks were more of a family to him than he could ever hope for back at Pike.
Right.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Like, that's one of those things that changes from the story. I'm like, this is great. This is one of those things I always wonder what, because people cross paths in the book, George R. Martin makes extra careful to let you know, hey, these guys just barely missed each other.
Right.
And you're just like, son of a bitch!
It's like, shit!
But the show's not doing that.
They haven't actually
They teased it in the first episode with Brienne and Sansa, but then the second episode they actually had them meet, so it's
right.
I think they keep doing these teases, but then they're not gonna just, have it be like a misconnection on Craigslist or whatever. Like a Coachella. You had a flowery shirt and smelled pretty. Contact me.
Tell me what shoes I was wearing.
Yeah.
So I know it's really you.
You were wearing very complicated shoes. We got to see more of Tyrion. And he finally got stir crazy enough in Volantis that he jumped out of the carriage and Varric is sitting there having to follow him around like a doting, concerned, mother hen.
Right.
And he ran into we saw another Red Priestess. This one played by the woman who's currently playing Katana on Arrow, which was really weird for me. I'm like, I know her.
Like, yeah. I know who you are.
She was praising Daenerys. Saying that she's the... how Melisandre's saying Stannis is the Lord of Light, reborn. She's saying Daenerys is the Lord of Light because she literally walked into fire and came back out with dragons. She can't be burned by fire, therefore she's the new Lord of Light.
Right.
It was the reasoning of this Red Priestess. And then she noticed Tyrion and was just staring his ass down, and the entire crowd
was staring at him, and he's like, "Shit, We need to go. Let's find a brothel.
Yeah, let's find a brothel. And there's a woman pretending to be Daenerys in the brothel, and she's like the most popular. And then there's another woman there, and Tyrion was kind of hitting on her and saying, I like you best because you have a cynical mind, because she kept rebuffing him.
Right.
But then she's like, okay, fine. And then she like goes to take him back to, screw him. And he's like, I can't. Trust me, I don't understand why, and I really don't.
He's like, I really want to,
but I can't.
I just can't.
And I think he's having hang-ups because of Shay.
I'm sure he is.
So it's interesting to see they're playing that out, that he's kind of still very much damaged for all of his talk and all of his, drinking nonstop. He's still very, very much damaged from what happened.
Well, I know I've never read the books this far into the series. I know I was talking to my cousin about it, and he said that the big thing was, where do whores go? Like, in the book, he would constantly walk around and ask that of people, like, where do whores go?
Yeah, when they die.
And it said that didn't happen in the show, so they're like, they have to show he's damaged somehow, some other way.
And honestly, I prefer this, because the where do whores go thing is really fucking annoying in the book.
In the books.
Because it's just like this weird mantra that just keeps getting repeated, and it takes Tyrion and makes him into somebody you're just like, ugh, really?
Right. It makes him into like a one-trick pony almost.
Yeah, it's the only thing. It's like if it's on his mind every once in a while, but it becomes like a constant thing. Like he's a crazy person.
Right. It's always on his mind.
But yeah, I mean, the question was always, when whores die, where do they go?
Yeah.
So it makes sense from the psychological standpoint, but just the way it was written was very kind of heavy-handed and got really annoying. So I prefer this, that they just show that he basically can't. As much as he wants to talk to whores or be in their company, he can't commit, or he can't go the whole distance.
Right. And it's because he's afraid he's going to fall in love again, and I'm sure that's probably what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he finds this woman that has a cynical mind that he's into, and then he's like, no, I can't. I have to break it away right now. Like,
right.
I can't
get too attached.
I can't even dream of like what might happen after.
Right.
But there's somebody else at that brothel he was at.
Yes, it was.
What a coincidence!
Very interesting.
Who would be at a brothel where the most everybody's favorite whore looks like Daenerys Targaryen?
I don't know. Who could it be?
Would it be Viserys?
No, I don't think it would be Viserys.
Khal Drogo?
No, okay, he's kind of dead. He's not a White Walker as far as we know, but...
Oh, it's right. It's Jorah!
Jorah!
Who notices the imp hanging out there.
Which actually, B pointed out his hand before anything else. It was like, that was Jorah's hand.
Yeah, she saw his hand before we even saw his face, and I'm like, shut up.
She's like, Jorah's there. I was like, what? I saw his hand. I'm like,
how do you recognize his hand?
Yeah, like, what do you mean you saw his hand?
Yeah, and then she started squeaking and squirming and doing her usual thing, and we're like, shut up, we can't hear the dialogue.
So, Jorah obviously recognizes Tyrion.
Yeah. Because, why wouldn't he? Tyrion's a very recognizable person, especially if you're a Westerosi.
Right, exactly.
So, Tyrion goes to pee, once again, giving Varric the slip and making Varric look very upset. And then he thinks Varric's behind him when it's actually Jorah, while Tyrion's peeing off the side of a building, which was kind of funny. He's just peeing into a random river.
He's like, standing in a window, like, on a windowsill. Like,
it wasn't even that. It was like a fucking, just a balcony. He's just standing at the end of edge of a balcony just pissing off. And then Jorah ties him up and throws him over his shoulder.
It's like, I'm taking you to the queen.
But which queen?
We don't know. That's the thing.
There's so many queens. Maybe he's taking her Freddie Mercury. And Brian May.
And that's the last thing that happens in the episode.
It is. Cliffhanger, so.
But
yeah, well, other things, yeah.
Well, Arya.
Yes, Arya has to lose her religion to become a faceless man. She keeps saying, "Oh, I'm ready. I'm gonna be," but she's holding on tightly to her identity,
to her identity in her past. Yeah.
To become a faceless man, you have to literally become nobody.
And she's been sweeping the floors. What did she say, for 2 weeks?
Yeah. Still wearing her old clothes, still has Needle, still has the coin, she's still carrying her old life around with her, and the lesson she has to learn is that she has to throw she has to basically, her Arya Stark has to die.
Yeah, she has to leave Arya behind.
In order for her to truly become a faceless man, if that's what she wants. She has to basically forget her pride, forget her list of who she wants to kill. Arya Stark has to cease to exist. And she's learning slowly but surely.
She throws all of her belongings, almost all of her belongings, into the river.
Yes.
Or into the sea.
But she buries Needle in some rocks.
She just can't bring herself to throw Needle away, so she buries Needle in rocks.
And I mentioned it during the show that it's interesting that her and Jon are both having these identity crises at the same time, where Jon has an opportunity to become a Stark, and Arya has to give up being a Stark,
right?
At the same time in their lives, like or the same, not in their lives, at the exact same time frame.
They have Needle and Needle's a big part of the whole,
Needle's the thing that Jon gave to Arya before he left. Like the last time she ever saw him, who was her favorite brother. Like she loved her family, but Jon was her favorite. They had a special bond,
right?
So the last time she ever saw him, he gave her that sword for her, knowing, because he understood her better than anyone, knowing what she wanted to be in her heart.
And they're both becoming what they want to be, but they're doing it in different ways.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really cool thing that happens that's happening at the same time.
Well, it's like Jon has to embrace his real identity as a bastard son.
Right.
That I'm never going to be Jon Stark. I can't. It's not going to happen for me. I have to accept it. And then she has to accept that she can't be Arya Stark anymore.
She can't be Arya if she wants to be a faceless man, or a faceless girl, or a faceless woman.
Faceless person.
Yeah, faceless person.
But I love the temple of Black and White. It has like an altar with like each of the gods, like every god and every religion, and people go there to die. Basically, like, you see people come in, they drink from the well in the center, and then they go to pray in front of whatever god they worship, and then their body is taken out later and washed down and everything. And
we don't know what happens after, because Arya asks, what do we do after we wash them?
And Crazy Eye Girl, who was beating her with a rod earlier,
just didn't say anything. Okay, just wash him, okay.
So Arya's learning that she's just basically, she has to stop not just asking questions, she has to just kind of go with the flow.
Right.
Like she is now learning, like, okay, I'm no longer the agent of my life. Like I'm not making decisions anymore. I'm not even in charge. I just have to basically follow blindly, which is something she's not really ever been able to do. She's always been inquisitive and kind of confrontational and even a little not judgmental, but she always had an opinion on everything.
Yeah, she was always curious. She always wanted to know how to do everything. You know what I mean? Like, and she wanted to know why she was doing everything, why everything was happening, and I think that's one of the reasons why she's become such a lovable character. You know what I mean? And now she's kind of having to give into that and give that up.
Part of Arya Stark going away is that personality has to go away too. Right. If she truly wants to serve men as a faceless man, that she can't be that person anymore. She can't have that personality anymore. Right. And I think that's, giving up your items is one thing, but having to give up your personality, like, that's tough.
Right.
Like, just thinking about that, I'm like, wow, how could you even? How could you just say, okay,
you just turn
I'm
into
not
a
this
stone,
person anymore,
And it's something she's gonna have to learn to do, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's interesting to see where that's gonna go to, so.
But definitely looking forward to more of this season. It's kind of weird. It's like we're watching this week by week, but like we still haven't caught up to the episodes that have been leaked that people have been like watching already.
About. And I'm really tempted to go and watch the other ones, but I'm like, I know I've got to do it as we go with the Spoilercast.
I think it's more fun this way. I mean, if you want to just binge watch it, and a lot of people like doing that, but for me, having like a weekly TV event is really fun.
Right.
It's rare these days with everything being available for binge watching or on demand or whatever to actually dedicate yourself to having like a TV event. It's kind of different. It's nice.
It is nice, and it's one of those, like, even like with Daredevil. Like, I really like Daredevil, but it was over in a week.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's binge watching is fun and it's nice, and it gives you're basically like watching a huge long movie. But at the same time, it's it's over so quick, and it's like, now what am I going to do? I got to wait a year.
Yeah, or more.
Or more, yeah.
Depending on the show, yeah. But I think that'll wrap it up then for this week's Spoilercast.
Yeah, I don't think we missed anything. I think that was pretty much everything that happened.
Yeah, no Daenerys this week.
No, not at all.
After what happened in the last episode, there's definitely a lot of shit going on there. So, but it looks like next week's going to be focusing on it quite a bit.
Right.
For the preview, we saw a lot of the Sons of Harpies running around.
Right. So we're moving back to Daenerys next episode. So
Daenerys.
We do appreciate you guys listening. If you like the Spoilercast, make sure you go support the main podcast at podcastofdoom.com. Also, you can find our Twitter and our Facebook and our YouTube channel and all that stuff on there. And go and subscribe to the main podcast on Stitcher and on iTunes.
Hey.
If you do like the podcast or the Spoilercast, you can also help support us by going and buying our merch or just going to our page and donating directly to us. And I think we are in talks of maybe starting a Patreon. So keep your eyes and your ears out for that. We'll definitely be telling you more information on that when we get that up and running as well.
Indeed.
All right. Anything else you want to add before we end this episode, sir?
You listen or you die.
You listen or you die.
Bye. Bye.